It all began with a single voicemailer message that was never meant to be heard. A shaky female voice, filled with panic, whispered, "Kirk, you promised me, you said no one would ever know." And then came the sound of heavy breathing, a nervous pause, and the faint jingle of money being counted. That one recording has now cracked open a scandal that's been buried for 7 long years. The whispers about Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington have haunted love and hip-hop for nearly a decade. But this time, it isn't gossip. It's proof. For years, fans believed the storm had passed. Kirk was back with Rashida, the boutique was booming, and Jasmine had vanished from the spotlight, quiet, distant, like a shadow erased from the Atlanta scene. But last week, a mysterious recording surfaced online, allegedly from a burner phone Kirk used during the height of his affair. The voice notes, according to insiders, are more than just casual exchanges. They reveal transactions, secret meetings, and payments made to keep one woman silent while another rebuilt her life on television. The audio allegedly begins with Kirk's unmistakable tone, steady, calculated, and defensive. "Look, Jas, this is the last time. You got what you asked for, right? You promised you'd disappear." To which Jasmine responds, trembling, "You think money erases everything? You think I wanted to hide forever?" That one line sent fans into a frenzy. Within hours, social media exploded with theories, screenshots, and breakdowns of the timeline. Bloggers began pulling old clips from Love and Hip Hop, pointing out moments when Rashida's expression would change the second Jasmine's name was mentioned. As if she always knew there was more to the story. Producers close to the franchise claim the network was aware of something back then, a deal struck off camera to protect the Frost brand and avoid a lawsuit that could have torn the show apart. But the real shock came when an anonymous insider claimed the payments didn't stop in 2017. He was sending money up until 2023, they said. That's why she never spoke out again. Every time her name started trending, she'd get a deposit. Now, that alleged phone call threatens to blow open one of the biggest reality TV cover-ups of all time. Did Kirk Frost really pay Jasmine Washington to stay silent for 7 years? Did Rashida know all along, playing the perfect wife to keep her empire intact? Or was she blindsided just like the rest of us? The Frost family's silence has only fueled speculation, and the tension online is boiling over. Fans are demanding answers. Old cast members are hinting that they always knew something was off. And one source close to Jasmine claims she's finally ready to talk. If that's true, then everything we thought we knew about Kirk, Rashida, and their picture-perfect comeback might be nothing more than a well-paid illusion. The truth, it seems, was never buried. It was bought. And now, the bill has come due. The tension in Atlanta had never felt this thick. Even people who had moved on from the Love and hip-hop chaos found themselves glued to their screens again, whispering the same question: how deep did Kirk Frost's secret go? When that recording leaked, it wasn't just another rumor. It was a ticking bomb. The audio circulated in private group chats, first shared by someone claiming to have proof from the source. Within hours, it hit Twitter, then blogs, then TikTok breakdowns where fans replayed every word with subtitles and slowed down audio. People were convinced the voice on the other end belonged to Jasmine Washington. That trembling tone, that soft but bitter edge, matched perfectly with the woman who once shattered Rashida's peace and the Frost family's image. The first seconds of the tape were quiet, filled with static, and then Kirk's voice cut through like a blade. "You can't keep calling me, Jasmine. We agreed on this," she responded. "You said it was over when I stopped talking, but you kept me waiting every month." Fans replayed that exchange over and over, claiming it was the moment that proved hush money was real. By the next morning, gossip blogs had screenshots of Jasmine's alleged old messages, showing timestamped transactions that matched Kirk's rumored business payouts. One of Kirk's former employees even came forward anonymously, saying, "There were always weird transfers, cash withdrawals under 50 grand. It was quiet, but consistent. None of us asked questions, because in that house, silence meant job security." Meanwhile, Rashida was nowhere to be found. Her social media went quiet. Her boutique page stopped posting new arrivals. Fans noticed that her wedding ring was missing from old throwback photos she reposted earlier that week. It felt deliberate, like she was sending a message without saying a word. Producers close to the family said she was heartbroken but strategic, trying to protect her brand before confronting her husband. Because this wasn't just about marriage anymore, it was about reputation, empire, and the illusion of loyalty she had built for years. Then came the second leak, a longer clip from the same phone. This one sounded like it was recorded during the height of the pandemic. Kirk's tone was cold, almost rehearsed. "You think they won't notice if you start talking now? I've covered you for 7 years. You got what you wanted. Jasmine shot back. What I wanted was respect, Kirk, not payoff money. The background noises hinted at a parking lot, maybe a car running, someone crying softly. The rawness of it pulled everyone in. Even those who didn't care about the show couldn't look away. Friends of the Frost family began picking sides. Some defended Kirk, saying the tape was edited. Others believed it without hesitation. One close friend told an online magazine, Rashida's known bits of this for years. She stayed for the business. She told me once, you can survive heartbreak, but not a ruined legacy. That quote spread everywhere. Fans began posting old clips where Rashida appeared detached whenever Kirk mentioned Jasmine. It looked, in hindsight, like the calm of a woman who already knew too much. As the internet tore through every piece of evidence, Jasmine herself stayed silent. Her Instagram had been inactive for months. Her last story, posted back in April, showed her son playing with a small toy car. And the caption said, "Quiet days are better." That single line became symbolic. Was she hinting at being paid to stay quiet all along? People even dug up her old neighbor's interviews from years ago, where one woman said, she was always looking over her shoulder, always nervous about her phone ringing. Inside the Frost household, sources claimed things had turned explosive. One insider said Rashida confronted Kirk in their kitchen the night the audio broke online. She allegedly slammed her phone on the counter, shouting, "So this is how you've been protecting your family?" Kirk reportedly didn't deny the voice. He just said, "You don't know the whole story." But to Rashida, there wasn't another version that made sense. He had humiliated her before, and she had forgiven him. This time, there was proof of manipulation, of payments, of deceit that stretched across years. The calm, composed image they had rebuilt after the scandal had just crumbled in one night. Producers from Love and Hip Hop were reportedly watching the chaos unfold with mixed feelings. On one hand, the scandal promised massive ratings if the Frosts agreed to film again. On the other, the situation was too raw, too real. One insider said, Rashida threatened to quit the franchise for good. She said, "You're not turning my pain into a storyline again." Yet behind the scenes, the network's team began reaching out to Jasmine, offering her a chance to clear the air. That's when a third voice note leaked a message allegedly from Jasmine's phone to someone saved as Mona S. In the clip, Jasmine says, "I'm not doing this for free anymore. If they want the truth, they can pay for it like Kirk did." That single leak reignited everything. Fans went wild. The comment sections turned into battlefields. One side argued Jasmine was extorting Kirk. The other side insisted she was a victim who had been silenced for years by money and power. The hashtag justice for Jasmine started trending, alongside hashtag Rashid A deserves better. Even old castmates jumped into the mess. Carly Red posted a cryptic message saying, "What's done in the dark always comes out. Some of us," warned her. As the backlash grew, Kirk tried to do damage control. He went live briefly, wearing sunglasses, sitting in his car. His voice was calm but defensive. "People are spreading edited clips. Half of y'all don't know the truth. I've made mistakes, but this is different." Yet he never said, "That's not me." That silence was deafening. The comments filled instantly with fans saying, "If it wasn't you, you'd say it wasn't you." By the time the live ended, he had only made things worse. Blogs clipped the part where he said, "This was handled privately back then," and turned it into a headline. Kirk admits past secret deal. Behind closed doors, Rashida reportedly began packing. Not a public breakup, not yet, but small moves. Removing photos, changing bio lines, unfollowing mutual friends. She stopped liking posts about family or business. People who had always seen her as unshakable said she looked defeated but determined. And still, Jasmine said nothing. No posts, no denials. Only the silence that had made this story so haunting in the first place. But the real shock came when a fourth tape surfaced. One that didn't sound like a confrontation, it sounded like a goodbye. Jasmine's voice was broken, tired. "You said it was for the baby's future, Kirk. You said if I kept quiet, he'd be protected. But what about me?" Kirk responded with a sigh that sounded almost regretful. "This isn't about you anymore. It's about survival." And then, the sound of car doors closing, footsteps fading, and the recording ended. Fans speculated it was from their final meeting before Jasmine disappeared from public view. That single sentence, "This isn't about you anymore," became the line that echoed through every discussion, every headline, every reaction video. By now, Atlanta was buzzing. Beauty salons, radio shows, and podcasts couldn't stop talking. One host said, "This isn't just reality TV mess. This is real-life betrayal at the highest level." People debated whether Rashida should leave or forgive him again. Some believed she already knew everything and chose peace over chaos. Others said she had been manipulated into silence just like Jasmine. And then, as if fate wanted to twist the knife deeper, someone leaked screenshots of alleged emails between Kirk and an unnamed consultant that appeared to confirm monthly payments. Labeled personal non-disclosure arrangement. The amounts varied, but the timeline matched perfectly with Jasmine's absence. One email even said, "Final payment due upon permanent silence agreement." That phrase sent chills through everyone who read it. If authentic, it meant Kirk Frost didn't just cheat, he orchestrated a 7-year cover-up. The story was spiraling faster than anyone could contain it. Kirk's business partners reportedly began pulling away. One sponsor quietly ended their contract, saying they didn't want to be associated with ongoing controversy. Fans noticed the Frost family unfollowed each other on social media. And still, the voicemail, the one that started everything, kept spreading. TikTok users began remixing it with dramatic music, turning it into trending audio. Every word of that whispered line, "You promised me no one would ever know," had now become a viral ghost, haunting everyone involved. What no one knew then was that another leak was coming, one that would make even Kirk's defenders go silent. Because deep inside that hidden phone, one final recording wetted a recording that didn't just expose a man protecting his secret, but a woman protecting her entire world. And as Atlanta braced for part 2 of this scandal, the Frost family's empire stood on the edge of collapse, trembling under the weight of the truth that money could no longer bury. The second wave of chaos hit like lightning. Within 24 hours, that final recording began circulating in private fan groups under the title, "The Confession Tape." It was longer, clearer, and far more personal than the rest. There were no threats, no cash sounds, no shaky breathing. This time, the voices were steady, resigned. Jasmine sounded like someone who had finally stopped running. "I've kept your secret for too long," she said quietly. "I lost friends, I lost jobs, and I had to watch you play perfect husband on TV while I hid my face in shame." Kirk's tone was different too, softer, older, maybe even regretful. "You knew what this was, Jasmine." "I was trying to make things right," she snapped back. "No, you were trying to keep me quiet. There's a difference." That line hit the internet like gasoline on fire. Fans dissected every syllable, claiming it proved Kirk paid her not out of guilt, but out of fear. Old clips of Kirk's awkward interviews resurfaced, especially the ones where he stumbled through questions about fatherhood. Bloggers pointed out how his answers always circled back to privacy and family matters, as if he was hiding something just beneath the surface. Rashida's silence became more haunting by the day. She still hadn't posted anything new. Not a quote, not a product promo, nothing. And for someone who built her life on consistency, that silence was louder than any statement. People close to the Frosts described their home as a war zone. According to one source, Rashida moved into the guest room while Kirk tried to manage the narrative. He was making calls, trying to trace who leaked the recordings. Some insiders believed it was an ex-employee of his trucking business. Others claimed Jasmine had finally decided to expose him herself. Whatever the truth was, the damage was done. One insider said Rashida told Kirk flat out, "I can survive embarrassment, but not deceit. You didn't protect me, you protected yourself." Those words purportedly left Kirk speechless. Then came another twist. Fans discovered Jasmine had quietly opened a private podcast page weeks before the scandal broke. It only had one trailer uploaded, titled "Truth Has a Deadline." The description read, "Sometimes silence is a paycheck. Sometimes it's a prison. I've served my sentence." The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. People speculated she had planned this all along, saving her side of the story for the perfect moment. Rumors spread that she had already signed a deal with a media network ready to stream her confessions. Meanwhile, producers from Love and Hip Hop were scrambling. A leaked email from a production assistant revealed they were urgently drafting proposals to address the Frost controversy. They saw it as a chance to revive ratings. But the network's legal team wasn't so enthusiastic. If the recordings were real, they involved serious non-disclosure breaches, and airing any of it could trigger lawsuits. One producer allegedly told a colleague, "This could be the biggest storyline of the decade or the end of the show." As fans waited for Jasmine's next move, Kirk tried to regain control. He met with his lawyers, strategists, and a crisis management consultant. But the internet moves faster than any plan. The hashtags #KirkFrostTapes and #HiddenPhoneCall were trending in over a dozen countries. Even celebrities outside the franchise started chiming in. One R&B artist tweeted, "Money can buy silence, but not peace." Another reality star wrote, "7 years of lies unravel in 7 days, poetic." Back at home, Rashida reportedly confronted Kirk again, this time on camera. Sources claim she agreed to film a private sit-down for the network, not for clout but for closure. In that tense scene, she allegedly told him, "You've built a kingdom on hush money, and now every brick is cracking." Kirk looked defeated, unable to meet her eyes. He muttered, "I did it to keep us together." Rashida replied coldly, "You did it so you wouldn't lose me publicly. You lost me privately a long time ago." As that private footage leaked in fragments, fans grew obsessed. People replayed every body language cue, every glance. Bloggers noted that Rashida's tone wasn't angry, it was done, like someone who had crossed the point of no return. Insiders said she moved out temporarily, taking only essentials. Kirk was left in the house alone, fielding calls from producers and journalists while trying to hold on to what little control he had left. Then came Jasmine's first public appearance in years. Paparazzi spotted her outside a radio studio in Atlanta, dressed simply, wearing dark glasses. She didn't answer questions, but when one reporter shouted, "Did Kirk pay you to stay silent?" she smirked slightly and said, "You'll hear everything soon." That 5-second clip went viral. It was the confirmation fans needed, the truth was coming, and Jasmine was finally ready to speak. Over the next few days, new information surfaced. Alleged bank receipts appeared online, showing wire transfers from Frost Enterprises to an unnamed account linked to Jasmine's former address. The amounts matched perfectly with the rumored hush payments. One receipt even included a note, "Consultation, personal discretion agreement." The signature, blurred but visible, looked eerily similar to Kirk's. When journalists reached out for comment, his legal team responded with a short statement. "These documents are fabricated. Mr. Frost has no further comment." But the damage was beyond repair. People who once defended Kirk started switching sides. Fans flooded Rashida's old videos with supportive comments, calling her strong and too good for this mess. Others demanded justice for Jasmine, arguing that her silence had been bought and her life manipulated. The longer she stayed quiet, the more power her story gained. The mystery made people care more than any statement ever could. And then, as if on cue, Jasmine's podcast dropped its first full episode. It wasn't flashy. Number intro music. No ads, just her voice. Calm and direct. "For 7 years, I was paid to forget who I was," she began. "Every month came with a reminder that my story belonged to someone else. But I've decided I want it back." Her tone was steady, but you could hear the emotion beneath it. She described how she felt trapped in a deal that sounded like protection but felt like punishment. She never said Kirk's name directly, but the details were too specific to mistake. "He told me it was for the baby's piece. But peace doesn't come with direct deposits." Within minutes, the podcast broke records. Listeners flooded the platform. Crashing servers, fans quoted her words, journalists transcribed them, and within hours, headlines across entertainment sites screamed, "Jasmine breaks her silence." Rashida reportedly listened to the episode privately. One of her friends told a magazine, "She didn't cry. She just sat there in silence, nodded, and said, 'Now everyone knows.'" Kirk's response came the next day. In a last-ditch attempt to control the narrative, he released a public statement. It read, "I made mistakes in my marriage and my past, but the stories being shared are not the full truth. I will address this in my own time." Fans called it cold, deflective, and too little, too late. Memes flooded the internet. One even had a photo of Kirk holding cash with the caption, "Hush money doesn't last forever." As the frenzy continued, Jasmine disappeared again. No posts, no interviews, nothing. Some speculated she was in talks for a documentary deal. Others believed she had said what she needed to say and was done. But then, a new twist arrived. A close friend of Jasmine posted a now-deleted tweet. "She still has one recording left, the one that proves everything." That message set the internet ablaze. Fans began waiting for the next episode of her podcast, calling it the final bomb. Meanwhile, Rashida's brand faced a strange divide. Her boutique saw record sales, with fans calling their purchases support buys, but others criticized her for staying too quiet, claiming she owed women honesty about her marriage. One blogger summed it up perfectly. "Rashida's silence is power, but power comes at a price." As week 2 of the scandal began, Atlanta nightlife felt different. People whispered in lounges. Stylists gossiped in salons. Everyone seemed to know someone who knew the real story. Kirk was spotted at a restaurant alone, looking tired and tense. Someone captured the moment on camera. When the video hit social media, fans noticed he was still wearing his wedding ring. The caption under the viral clip read, "You can take the money, but you can't buy forgiveness." The calm before the next storm had settled, but deep down, everyone knew Jasmine wasn't finished. Because the world had only heard half the truth. The final recording, the one that could destroy everything Kirk tried to protect, was still waiting to be heard. And once it came out, no amount of silence, money, or reputation could ever bury it again. The atmosphere in Atlanta grew heavier with every passing day. Gossip sites weren't just reporting anymore, they were investigating, tracking, and predicting Kirk Frost's next move. Insiders close to the Frost family claimed the household had become unrecognizable. Rashida was reportedly staying at a friend's home, attending business meetings virtually, and carefully managing the boutique empire that had once been their shared dream. Friends said she looked resolute, almost untouchable, but every now and then, her eyes betrayed exhaustion. 7 years of pretending, forgiving, and maintaining a perfect image had finally taken its toll. Kirk, on the other hand, appeared frantic. Sources said he was shuttling between lawyers, financial advisors, and private investigators, trying to trace the leak of Jasmine's recordings. His old friends noticed he rarely smiled. One former business partner claimed, "I've never seen him like this. Usually, he's so composed, so in control. Now, every call, every message, it's like he's calculating damage control on the fly." But even his carefully orchestrated efforts couldn't stem the tide. Screenshots of alleged payments, fragments of voice notes, and fan theories spread faster than any legal notice could arrive. Jasmine became the center of every conversation. Her podcast episodes were dissected minute by minute. Fans started analyzing her tone, word choice, and pauses, convinced she was hinting at even deeper secrets. One viral thread speculated that she had recorded multiple conversations with Kirk over the years, and that the hidden phone call everyone had been waiting for wasn't just one recording, it was a collection of tapes, each more damning than the last. Bloggers went so far as to suggest that Jasmine might have meticulously documented 7 years of hush money exchanges, carefully tracking amounts, dates, and delivery methods. Inside the Frost household, the atmosphere was reportedly tense enough to break steel. A source claimed Rashida had confronted Kirk again, this time in the middle of the night, shouting so loudly that neighbors allegedly called the police. "You think money can erase what you did?" she reportedly said, voice trembling with anger. Kirk allegedly tried to calm her, murmuring, "I was trying to protect us." But according to the source, Rashida snapped, "You protected only yourself. Do you even hear yourself?" Fans immediately latched onto this confrontation, comparing it to past episodes where their arguments were staged for television. Now, there was no script, just raw emotion, real betrayal, and a family's empire in crisis. As the scandal escalated, former cast members began weighing in. Carly Red posted a cryptic message. "I warned her. I said, some secrets are poison. Now it's out. Consequences are real." Other reality stars followed, some supportive of Rashida, others defending Kirk, claiming the tapes might be manipulated. The divide among fans was unprecedented. One subreddit dedicated to love and hip-hop exploded with theories, debates, and alleged insider information. One popular post claimed, "If the last tape drops, it will be the scandal of the decade." 7 years of silence, 7 years of lies, all unraveling in less than a week. Amid the chaos, Kirk allegedly made another public appearance. Paparazzi spotted him entering a private building in downtown Atlanta, and within minutes, the clip went viral. His face was pale, eyes darting nervously. He wore a tailored suit, but fans immediately noticed his hands shaking slightly as he adjusted his tie. The comment sections filled instantly. Some called him panicked, others remorseless, while memes comparing him to famous scandal-ridden celebrities exploded. Insiders claimed he was meeting with legal teams, trying to prevent Jasmine's next release from going public, but the cat was already out of the bag. Rashida reportedly maintained a stoic exterior throughout the ordeal. Sources said she focused on her boutique and family, avoiding the media frenzy as much as possible. Friends described her as laser-focused, almost untouchable, but every now and then, you could see the cracks in her armor. One friend reportedly said, "She's angry, yes, but she's also strategic. She's thinking 10 steps ahead." The boutique, her public image, and her personal life, it's all under careful watch. Fans speculated that her silence was deliberate, a way to let Kirk unravel publicly while she preserved her own empire. And then came the next bombshell. An alleged text message exchange surfaced between Kirk and a business associate, referencing a 7-year agreement with Jasmine. The text, if authentic, outlined the payments, mentions of silence clauses, and vague threats about reputation and public fallout. Fans immediately compared timestamps with old posts and sightings of Jasmine, finding that they aligned perfectly with previous speculation. Suddenly, the narrative that Kirk had meticulously bought silence for 7 years was no longer a rumor, it was seemingly documented in black and white. As the story spread, the public became obsessed with the emotional fallout. Journalists began calling it a modern-day soap opera, while fans dissected every detail, from Kirk's alleged missteps to Rashida's silent resilience. Hashtags like #FrostScandal, #JasmineExposed, and #Hidden Phone Call trended globally. Talk shows debated the morality of hush money, the ethics of silence, and the responsibility of reality stars who live their lives in public yet keep devastating secrets behind closed doors. Then came the most shocking revelation yet. An insider claimed that Jasmine had secretly met with a major network, pitching a documentary that would detail the entire ordeal from her perspective. According to the source, she wanted full creative control. "She's done being silenced," the insider said. "This isn't about revenge, it's about reclaiming her life, her story, and the years she was forced to be quiet." Fans immediately speculated on the title, the possible content, and whether Rashida would appear alongside her husband, or choose to tell her own side independently. Kirk's response was immediate but muted. Social media accounts linked to him posted short messages: "The truth will come out, but not the way it's being told." The vagueness only fueled speculation. Fans flooded comment sections, accusing him of playing games, hiding behind carefully chosen words, and failing to take responsibility. Meanwhile, paparazzi caught him entering luxury cars, meeting undisclosed people, and appearing visibly stressed. Insiders described him as a man on edge, realizing control was slipping through his fingers for the first time in years. The Frost family's private circle reportedly fractured. Some friends left the scene entirely, unable to handle the public scrutiny. Others allegedly sided with Rashida or Jasmine, creating tension that was rumored to bleed into business dealings. Boutique operations continued, but sources claimed meetings became tense, awkward, and cautious, with lawyers present during almost every interaction. Fans speculated that every public smile, every staged social media photo, was now carefully calculated to maintain appearances while the truth simmered just beneath the surface. Jasmine's next podcast episode only intensified speculation. She hinted at more recordings, moments of negotiation, and emotional confrontations that had never reached the public. Listeners were left with cliffhangers, phrases like "he thought silence could protect him, but it couldn't," and "7 years is too long to be controlled by money and fear." Every episode ended with a pause that fans analyzed obsessively. Online forums dissected voice inflections, background noises, and timestamps, trying to piece together the chronology of events and the unseen meetings between Kirk and Jasmine over the years. Even old footage from Love and Hip Hop resurfaced. Viewers replayed episodes where Kirk appeared overly defensive or unusually tense around certain cast members. Rashida's subtle reactions, smiles, or glances suddenly felt like clues to the behind-the-scenes drama. Fan theories suggested that she had known more than anyone realized and had played along, carefully observing while her husband tried to maintain a facade of normalcy. Every previously harmless moment was now scrutinized for hidden meaning, creating a new layer of intrigue that made the scandal irresistible. The internet's obsession reached new heights when a fan claimed to have obtained a blurred screenshot of a ledger allegedly showing monthly transfers from Kirk Frost to Jasmine Washington. Although authenticity couldn't be confirmed, the timing coincided with known events, fueling a frenzy. Blogs, gossip shows, and TikTokers speculated about amounts, motives, and whether this was a standard hush payment or part of a larger cover-up scheme. Fans debated morality, loyalty, and the consequences of silence, creating a non-stop cycle of engagement that dominated entertainment media for weeks. And yet, through it all, Jasmine remained mostly unseen. Occasional appearances were brief, calculated, and powerful. A single statement, a knowing glance, or a cryptic social media post could send the internet into a frenzy. Insiders hinted that she was carefully planning her final reveal. The one recording or series of recordings that could finally leave no doubt about what had transpired over those 7 years. Anticipation built to a fever pitch, and every mention of her name, Kirk Frost, or Rashida's silence became a headline, a clip, a meme, or a viral thread. Atlanta had become a city obsessed. The scandal wasn't just a story, it was a shared experience, a public unraveling of deception, money, and manipulation. As fans speculated about the final recording, the dynamics between Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine remained tense and unpredictable. Every leaked audio, Every podcast and every cryptic social post contributed to the sense that the truth was finally surfacing and that once it did, the fallout would be unprecedented in reality TV history. The countdown to the final reveal had begun, and the Frost Empire, built on loyalty, money, and appearances, teetered on the edge of complete exposure. No one knew what would happen next, but the world was watching, waiting, and preparing for the moment when 7 years of secrets, silence, and hush money would finally be confronted. The anticipation around Atlanta was almost tangible. Everywhere people went, the whispers followed. Have you heard about Kirk and Jasmine? In salons, on the streets, even at high-end boutiques, the scandal dominated conversations. Fans dissected every minor detail, every past episode of Love and Hip Hop, looking for clues they may have missed. The leaked recordings had not only reopened old wounds but created an entirely new layer of obsession. Some fans even started timelines, mapping out every alleged payment, every meeting, and every hushed conversation that supposedly took place over 7 long years. Inside the Frost household, things were unraveling faster than anyone could contain. Sources close to the family described a tense, almost apocalyptic environment. Rashida reportedly spent her days in quiet focus, working on the boutique while keeping a careful eye on Kirk. Friends said she was methodical, patient, and strategic, handling the public while processing the private betrayal. Meanwhile, Kirk allegedly tried to maintain control, shuttling between lawyers, advisors, and private investigators, attempting to anticipate Jasmine's next move. Insiders said he was exhausted, frazzled, and increasingly aware that his empire could crumble under the weight of his past decisions. Jasmine, on the other hand, seemed to be operating on her own schedule. After the podcast episode that hinted at further recordings, fans and journalists speculated constantly about her next move. One of her closest friends hinted that she had amassed a full dossier of evidence, enough to bring complete clarity to the scandal. She's not just revealing what happened, the friend said, she's reclaiming her life, her story, and finally exposing the full extent of what she endured. Social media was flooded with speculation, theories, and countdowns, all waiting for the moment the final recordings would drop. As the story progressed, Kirk attempted a few public appearances. Paparazzi captured him entering private meetings, leaving luxury restaurants, and even attending his boutique. Each appearance was meticulously analyzed by fans. Body language experts on talk shows debated his gestures. Social media commentators dissected his facial expressions, and memes exploded across the internet. One particularly viral post compared his current demeanor to a man carrying the weight of 7 years of secrets on his shoulders. The caption read, "You can hide the truth with money, but never forever." Rashida's silence only added fuel to the fire. While Kirk was constantly reacting to leaks, she maintained her composure. Insiders claimed she focused on protecting her children and her brand, refusing to allow the scandal to dictate her every move. Fans and bloggers praised her restraint, calling it powerful and calculated. Yet beneath that calm exterior, sources suggested she was simmering with emotion, fully aware of the manipulation and hush money schemes that had dominated her marriage. Then came the next twist. On anonymous tipster leaked additional screenshots, allegedly, showing direct messages between Kirk and Jasmine's associates. The messages, if genuine, revealed discussions about monthly payments, amounts, and clauses specifying silence. Fans combed through the images, noting timestamps, comparing them with known events, and cross-referencing locations. The details matched prior speculations, making the theory of 7 years of hush money increasingly plausible. The internet was ablaze. Journalists and bloggers began drawing connections between past events on Love and Hip Hop and the scandal. Clips where Kirk seemed overly defensive, episodes where Rashida's reactions appeared forced, and even background conversations now took on new meaning. Fan theories suggested that the network might have known more than they let on, and that some off-camera agreements could have been orchestrated to protect reputations. Every minor detail was scrutinized, creating a nearly obsessive level of engagement. Meanwhile, the fallout extended to social media. Hashtags like #HiddenPhoneCall, #FrostScandal, and #JusticeForJasmine trended worldwide. Talk shows and podcasts dedicated entire segments to the scandal, replaying audio clips and debating the ethics of hush money and manipulation. Even celebrities outside the reality TV circle commented, lending the scandal an almost cultural significance beyond Atlanta. Memes, reactions, and dramatic reenactments flooded platforms like TikTok and Instagram, turning the story into a digital spectacle. In the midst of this, insiders reported that Rashida had taken additional precautions. Security measures were heightened around her boutique and family home. Staff were carefully vetted, and every social media post was reviewed before publication. She allegedly consulted with lawyers to ensure her personal and professional life was shielded from the inevitable public scrutiny that would follow Jasmine's next revelations. Friends described her demeanor as calm, collected, and unwavering, a stark contrast to Kirk's frantic energy. Jasmine's next podcast release added another layer of drama. She hinted at personal confrontations, clandestine meetings, and moments of manipulation that had never reached the public eye. Her voice was steady but carried weight, and every pause was scrutinized by fans for hidden meaning. Phrases like 7 years of silence, 7 years of lies, and he thought he could buy peace, but you can't purchase integrity circulated widely, sparking discussion, analysis, and speculation about the untold depths of the scandal. The public obsession escalated further when paparazzi caught Kirk in private meetings with what appeared to be media representatives. Speculation arose that he might be preparing a controlled narrative or damage control strategy. Though the authenticity and motives of these meetings remained unclear, fans reacted with a mixture of skepticism and excitement, interpreting every action as a potential revelation or cover-up. As the scandal continued, Atlanta's social scene was saturated with tension. Beauty salons, restaurants, and boutique openings became centers for conversation, where fans dissected every possible connection, exchange, and timeline. Whispers about possible reconciliations, confrontations, and public statements dominated discussions. Insiders said the Frost family dynamics had shifted irreversibly, and that the private toll of 7 years of secrecy was becoming publicly evident. Jasmine's silence, strategic appearances, and cryptic messages created anticipation for a final reveal. Fans debated whether she would release a documentary, exclusive audio, or an interview that would finally settle the speculation. Every rumor, every leak, and every insider comment contributed to a heightened sense of suspense, with audiences feeling both desperate for answers and captivated by the unfolding drama. With every passing day, Kirk's empire appeared more fragile. His public appearances, financial dealings, and private communications were intensely scrutinized. Insiders described his demeanor as increasingly tense, with moments of visible stress captured by paparazzi and social media users alike. Rashida's composed exterior, contrasted with Kirk's frantic energy, added a striking visual narrative to the story. A woman managing the aftermath of betrayal while a man struggled to contain the consequences of past actions. The combination of leaked recordings, social media speculation, insider reports, and public appearances created a perfect storm. Atlanta, and fans worldwide, were fully engrossed. The narrative had shifted from a scandalous secret to a multilayered, emotionally charged saga of deception, money, and power. Anticipation built steadily, as everyone awaited the moment when the final recording, the definitive evidence, would emerge and force resolution. As the days stretched on, tensions continued to rise. The Frost family, fans, journalists, and social media audiences were caught in a web of intrigue, speculation, and suspense. Every post, every leak, and every statement added to the escalating drama. The world waited, knowing that the truth had been concealed for 7 years, and that once revealed, it would alter perceptions, relationships, and reputations irrevocably. The pressure on Kirk Frost intensified as the days turned into weeks. Sources reported that his usual confidence had eroded, replaced with a nervous, almost haunted demeanor. Insiders claimed he spent hours reviewing past contracts, recordings, and correspondence, desperately trying to anticipate Jasmine's next move. Every notification on his phone seemed to trigger a flinch. Even casual appearances at boutiques and private events drew whispers, stares, and pointed fingers from fans who had tracked his every action since the scandal erupted. Rashida's approach, however, was markedly different. She maintained a composed exterior, focusing on her boutique, her children, and carefully curated public appearances. Friends described her as methodical, calculating, and strong, suggesting that she was navigating the scandal strategically rather than reactively. She reportedly refused interviews, avoided paparazzi, and carefully timed social media posts, demonstrating that her silence could be just as powerful and far more damaging than any public accusation. Fans speculated endlessly about whether her calm was genuine or a tactic designed to let Kirk crumble while she retained control. Meanwhile, Jasmine's influence over the narrative continued to grow. Her podcast episodes dropped strategically, each one offering tantalizing details without revealing everything. Phrases like 7 years of manipulation, money cannot erase memory, and silence comes with a price dominated social media. Fans combed through every word, every pause, trying to extract hidden clues about the next revelation. One particularly viral clip of her voice, lasting just 15 seconds, prompted dozens of news articles, dozens of blog posts, and hundreds of social media threads analyzing every inflection. Then came the leaks of supposed text messages and bank records. Screenshots allegedly showed transfers from Frost Enterprises to Jasmine, with notes like discretion, agreement, and monthly compliance. Although authenticity could not be verified, the timing of the messages corresponded with known events and sightings, fueling speculation. Fans immediately theorized that Jasmine had meticulously documented every interaction, every payment, every whispered promise over 7 years. Forums and comment sections exploded with discussion, analysis, and outrage. The internal fallout within the Frost household reportedly became increasingly tense. Sources claimed Rashida confronted Kirk multiple times, each confrontation more emotionally charged than the last. One insider said Rashida accused him of valuing his reputation over their family. "You spent 7 years protecting yourself while we suffered. I tolerated lies, humiliation, and manipulation, and now you expect forgiveness." Kirk allegedly responded with a shaky attempt at justification. "I did it to protect everyone." Fans and bloggers alike pounced on these alleged confrontations, dissecting every phrase, gesture, and emotional beat, treating them as evidence in the court of public opinion. Fans also began revisiting past episodes of Love and Hip Hop with a new lens. Kirk's defensive moments, Rashida's subtle reactions, and even offhand comments from supporting cast members were reinterpreted in light of the scandal. Clips where Kirk appeared unusually tense around certain cast members were circulated as proof of pressure, while moments of Rashida's silence were framed as silent judgment. Social media commentary ranged from outrage to admiration, with some praising Rashida's patience and others condemning Kirk's calculated behavior. Additionally, the impact of the scandal spilled beyond personal relationships. Analysts claimed that it affected brand deals, public appearances, and even local business ventures. Insiders suggested that some partners hesitated to associate with Kirk, fearing backlash from fans who were increasingly vocal and engaged. Meanwhile, Rashida's boutique reportedly saw a surge in support, with fans intentionally buying from her to demonstrate solidarity and loyalty, further highlighting the power dynamics at play. Amidst all this, speculation about Jasmine's final recording grew to a fever pitch. Insiders hinted that she possessed one definitive recording capable of exposing the full extent of the hush money, threats, and manipulation over 7 years. Fans called it the bombshell, the ultimate reveal, and the final truth. Social media communities formed around this single idea, debating its content, implications, and potential consequences for Kirk and Rashida alike. Kirk's attempts to regain control were reportedly frantic. He was seen entering undisclosed meetings, consulting lawyers, and reviewing old communications. Insiders claimed that he was desperate to prevent Jasmine's next release from going public, but the anticipation among fans and media outlets made complete containment nearly impossible. Paparazzi captured tense moments, and social media commentary suggested that Kirk's empire, built on secrecy and appearances, was slowly unraveling in plain sight. Rashida's strategy of measured silence continued to pay off. Her composed presence, carefully planned public appearances, and selective engagement with media maintained her image as resilient and grounded. Friends claimed she focused on her children and boutique while allowing the scandal to play out in the public arena. Fans speculated that this approach amplified the impact of Kirk's missteps and Jasmine's revelations, positioning Rashida as both a victim and a figure of strength amidst chaos. Jasmine's episodic revelations and hints about additional recordings kept the story dynamic. Each new podcast release or cryptic social media post prompted immediate analysis, discussion, and anticipation. Phrases like 7 years is long enough to pay for silence, and you can't erase what you've done became catchphrases among fans, driving engagement and speculation to unprecedented levels. As the scandal deepened, social media, blogs, and entertainment outlets continuously amplified every detail. Every appearance, leak, and statement was scrutinized, leading to a heightened sense of urgency and drama. Fans waited with bated breath, fully immersed in the unfolding story, eager to see how the Frost Empire, the boutique, and the tangled relationships between Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine would finally resolve or explode completely. Insiders continued to feed the frenzy with claims of secret meetings, clandestine recordings, and emotional confrontations. Each leak added new layers of intrigue, keeping fans engaged and speculation rampant. The combination of personal betrayal, financial manipulation, and public scrutiny created a drama that seemed far from resolution. With anticipation building, it was clear that the final chapter, whether through Jasmine's ultimate reveal or further confrontations, would be monumental, capturing the attention of fans and media alike. Atlanta, social media, and entertainment outlets were collectively holding their breath. The world watched as 7 years of secrets, manipulation, and hush money threatened to redefine the narratives of Kirk Frost, Rashida, and Jasmine. The tension, anticipation, and emotional stakes had never been higher, setting the stage for a climax that promised to be unforgettable. The countdown to truth continued, and the public knew that once it arrived, nothing would ever be the same. The tension in Atlanta reached a fever pitch as speculation about Jasmine's final reveal dominated every conversation. Friends and insiders claimed that Kirk Frost was growing increasingly desperate, his usual calculated composure replaced by visible strain. He was allegedly spotted entering multiple private meetings with lawyers, consultants, and even media strategists, his expressions tight, eyes darting nervously. According to one source, he was obsessively reviewing past communications, audio recordings, and financial documents, attempting to anticipate Jasmine's next move before it could reach the public. Fans interpreted every photo, every short video clip, every social media post as a potential clue to the unfolding drama. Rashida, by contrast, remained the picture of calm. Sources described her as strategic, focused, and untouchable, managing her boutique empire, attending family obligations, and carefully orchestrating public appearances. While Kirk reacted frantically to every leak, Rashida allegedly prioritized preserving her image and protecting her children. Insiders suggested that she understood the power of restraint, knowing that letting the scandal unfold while she maintained composure would ultimately highlight the contrast between her control and Kirk's unraveling. Jasmine's influence over the story had only grown. Her podcast episodes, released in carefully timed installments, hinted at further undisclosed recordings and intimate confrontations. Listeners dissected every word, tone, and pause. Phrases like 7 years of silence, 7 years of lies, and you can't erase memory with money were dissected endlessly online. Fans speculated that each cryptic statement was a breadcrumb, guiding them toward the ultimate revelation. Forums exploded with theories about potential recordings, conversations, and the extent of the alleged hush money arrangements. Then came the next wave of leaks, screenshots allegedly showing text exchanges between Kirk and Jasmine's representatives. The messages, if authentic, outlined payments, amounts, and clauses concerning secrecy and discretion. Although verification was impossible, the timing matched known events, fueling speculation that Jasmine had meticulously documented every interaction over the years. The alleged evidence suggested that Kirk had maintained a calculated system of hush payments designed to secure silence, while maintaining a public facade of normalcy. Fans revisited past Love and Hip Hop episodes with renewed scrutiny. Moments of Kirk's apparent defensiveness, Rashida's subtle glances, and offhand comments from supporting cast members were reinterpreted as evidence of concealed tensions. Every interaction became a potential clue. Social media users, bloggers, and fan communities analyzed body language, tone, and micro-expressions, constructing elaborate theories about what might have occurred behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the fallout within the Frost household reportedly escalated. Insiders claimed multiple confrontations between Rashida and Kirk occurred, each more emotionally charged than the last. Friends described Rashida as confronting Kirk about prioritizing his image over their family, demanding accountability for the 7 years of manipulation and secrecy. Kirk's alleged responses were described as defensive and evasive, emphasizing protection while failing to acknowledge the emotional damage caused. Fans dissected these alleged confrontations online, amplifying the drama and feeding speculation. As public interest surged, the scandal began affecting professional relationships. Partners, collaborators, and media networks reportedly approached Kirk cautiously, wary of association amid the intensifying controversy. Meanwhile, Rashida's boutique reportedly experienced increased patronage, with fans purchasing products in support and solidarity. The juxtaposition of rising sales and growing public scrutiny highlighted the divergent trajectories of Kirk and Rashida amid the scandal. Jasmine's strategic releases continued to dominate attention. Each episode hinted at deeper secrets and further recordings, creating anticipation and maintaining high engagement levels. Her calm, measured delivery contrasted sharply with the chaos surrounding Kirk, enhancing the perceived authority and credibility of her narrative. Phrases like 7 years of manipulation cannot be hidden forever were widely circulated, with fans analyzing every nuance for hidden meaning. The internet frenzy escalated when paparazzi captured Kirk in a series of undisclosed meetings. Speculation ran rampant, speculated on the form it would take, whether a definitive podcast episode, documentary, or exclusive interview. Each cryptic post, audio snippet, and subtle gesture fed speculation, creating a continuous cycle of analysis and discussion. Insiders hinted that Jasmine possessed the ultimate recording, capable of fully exposing Kirk's actions and providing irrefutable evidence of 7 years of hush money and manipulation. Atlanta's social scene reflected the heightened tension. Conversations in salons, boutiques, and nightlife venues were dominated by discussion of the scandal, with fans, social media users, and journalists analyzing each new development. The combination of financial allegations, personal betrayal, and public exposure created a compelling narrative that blurred the lines between reality television and real-life consequences. Every revelation, confirmed or rumored, amplified engagement, speculation, and debate. As the countdown to the final reveal continued, Kirk's control appeared increasingly fragile. Every new leak, podcast release, and social media mention added pressure, forcing him to react under constant scrutiny. Insiders described a man struggling to maintain composure as the consequences of past actions collided with the inevitability of public exposure. Fans followed closely, anticipating the moment when the final recording would surface, potentially redefining perceptions of Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine's intertwined narratives. The Frost family's story had transformed from a private conflict into a public spectacle. The combination of leaked recordings, social media speculation, insider accounts, and careful podcast storytelling created a layered, emotionally charged saga. Anticipation mounted as audiences awaited the definitive revelation, fully aware that the coming disclosures would carry significant ramifications for reputations, relationships, and public perception. In this climate, every action, post, and statement was magnified. Fans scrutinized Kirk's movements, Rashida's decisions, and Jasmine's strategic storytelling. The interplay of silence, revelation, and anticipation created a dramatic tension that kept the public engaged, speculative, and emotionally invested. The narrative continued to evolve in real time, with each development adding complexity, suspense, and intensity to an already explosive story. The stage was set. 7 years of secrecy, manipulation, and hush money were on the brink of full exposure. The world watched, analyzed, and waited, knowing that the final revelation would reshape the narrative forever. Atlanta and the global fanbase braced for the inevitable confrontation, the ultimate recording, and the dramatic fallout that would inevitably follow. The countdown to truth had reached its final act, and nothing would ever be the same once it unfolded. Fans, after everything we've uncovered, it's clear that this story is far from over. The hidden phone call, the alleged 7 years of hush money, and the tangled web of secrets between Kirk Frost, Rashida, and Jasmine has kept the world talking, debating, and guessing. Emotions have run high, opinions have divided, and loyalties have been tested. Now, more than ever, it's your turn to weigh in. Do you believe Kirk was trying to protect his family, or was this an elaborate attempt to control the narrative and silence Jasmine for years? How do you see Rashida's role in all of this? Did she play the long game, or has she been a victim navigating impossible circumstances? The truth, or at least the story as it's been presented, leaves us questioning morality, loyalty, and the price of secrecy. We've followed every twist, every confrontation, and every revelation, watching as the Frost Empire teetered on the edge of exposure. Fans have dissected the smallest details, from body language on Love and Hip Hop episodes to cryptic social media posts. Now it's your moment to join the conversation. Comment below with your thoughts on who you think has the upper hand, who has been most affected, and what you predict will happen next. Do you think Jasmine will release the ultimate recording that confirms everything, or will there be a shocking twist that none of us expect? Your voice matters because this story is more than gossip. It's a study of power, deception, and the lengths people will go to protect themselves. Don't forget to hit the like button if this series has kept you on the edge of your seat. Each twist, each leaked screenshot, and each dramatic revelation has been designed to keep you engaged, and your support allows us to bring you even more in-depth, breaking coverage of reality TV's most shocking scandals. Every like helps ensure that stories like this reach a wider audience. so you can share the suspense, the outrage, and the intrigue with friends and fellow fans. The Frost scandal isn't just a headline, it's a cultural phenomenon, and your engagement amplifies it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribing ensures that you don't miss a single update, a single leaked recording, or the next bombshell revelation that could completely change the narrative. With every episode, podcast snippet, and insider claim, the story evolves. And subscribers are always the first to know. The next installment could reveal details that no one saw coming, secrets that will shift public opinion, and emotional confrontations that fans will remember for years. Don't let yourself be left behind in the speculations. Subscribe and be part of the unfolding story. Share your opinions, theories, and predictions in the comments. Was Kirk Frost manipulating everyone for 7 years? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Did Rashida play the perfect silent strategist, or has she been blindsided by her husband's actions? Will Jasmine release the recording that finally settles all questions? Or will there be an even bigger revelation waiting for fans? Your insights could spark the next viral conversation, influence fan debates, and shape the collective interpretation of this scandal. Every comment adds a layer to the public dialogue, and we want to hear what you think. This scandal has demonstrated just how high the stakes are when secrets, money, and personal relationships collide in the public eye. The hidden phone call is more than just a recording, it represents years of power dynamics, manipulation, and silent battles behind the scenes. We've seen the pressure mount, the alliances shift, and emotions run unchecked. Your participation keeps this narrative alive, ensuring that reality TV's most dramatic stories don't just pass quietly into history. By commenting, liking, and subscribing, you become part of the conversation, part of the fan-driven scrutiny, and part of the anticipation for the next explosive reveal. Remember, every post, every share, and every discussion helps expand the reach of this story. Tag friends, share on social media, and debate the possibilities. Whether you believe Kirk acted in self-interest, Rashida played the long game, or Jasmine has the final, undeniable proof, your engagement fuels the conversation. Reality TV scandals are shaped by public perception, and your voice plays a crucial role in interpreting, analyzing, and spreading the drama. The Frost story is larger than any single person, it's a collective experience, and your input makes it more powerful. So, here's the question for you. What's your take on the hidden phone call? Do you think 7 years of silence was bought and orchestrated? Or is there a twist that we haven't uncovered yet? How do you imagine the fallout will unfold for Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine? Are we witnessing the unraveling of a carefully constructed facade? Or is there more manipulation waiting behind the scenes? Your answers, theories, and speculations aren't just welcome, they're essential. Engage fully, think critically, and contribute to the drama in a way only fans can. This is your chance to be part of something massive. Click like, subscribe, and comment. Share your thoughts, predictions, and theories. Join the community of fans dissecting, analyzing, and debating one of reality TV's most intense scandals. The hidden phone call has exposed a world of secrets, betrayal, and tension that has captivated audiences for years, and your participation ensures that you're part of the story. We're all waiting for that ultimate revelation, and together, we can discuss every shocking detail, every emotional confrontation, and every twist as it unfolds. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and stay part of the conversation. The Frost scandal isn't just entertainment, it's a cultural event, a live unfolding drama, and a test of public attention, scrutiny, and reaction. Be active, share widely, and immerse yourself in the discussion. Your comments, likes, and subscriptions are more than support, their participation in the narrative itself. The hidden phone call has changed everything, and now it's your chance to respond, react, and predict what comes next. Don't wait. Act now. Comment, share, like, and subscribe. Weigh in with your opinion, your theory, or your prediction. Join thousands of fans worldwide in dissecting every angle of this scandal. Kirk Frost, Rashida, and Jasmine are all under the microscope, and your voice helps shape the public perception of this 7-year-long saga. The drama is unfolding, and your engagement keeps you at the center of it. Stay gentle. Stay wise. You matter more than you know.